You know, I'm not gonna lie, this preseason has been pretty bad. In terms of the injuries and the main stories of guys that are leading the league in, let's just say, penalty minutes. Yeah, you could definitely fill in the blanks as to what I'm talking about here. But all injuries aside, I wanted to go out there and talk about some guys that have really been standing out in this preseason. And I wanted to focus on two Canadian teams and the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, we are on the NHL's CBS Sports page because they're one of the only websites that actually has preseason stats up and available. If you go to the NHL website itself, it doesn't have preseason stats. So if you go over here, for example, leading the preseason in goals is Adam Fantilli with 4 goals. He is actually tied with fellow Columbus Blue Jacket Mathieu Olivier with 4 goals as well. And then you have a bunch of 3-goal scorers, Malkin, Edstrom, Carconi. Then if you go over to assists, you'll see some guys. If you go over to points on the right side here, you'll see some guys. I wanted to talk about some top point scorers in this video, and I also wanted to kind of allude to some of the biggest surprises we have seen out of these Canadian organizations. Now, if you go over to penalty minutes, I mean, look at that, eh? Arbor Xhekaj, 44 penalty minutes. He is doubled up on Jonah Gadjevich, who is second in the league. Meanwhile, Ridley Greig has 19 penalty minutes, good enough for 4th overall on this list. Talk about Montreal, eh? Let's go out there and look at the points race here for top point producers and take a look at the two guys at the top of the list. These are the only two guys who have 7 points so far in the preseason, and I wanted to talk about them here today. They are Samuel Honzek of the Calgary Flames and Matvei Michkov of the Philadelphia Flyers. You can see the rest of the preseason scoring list here. Joel Eriksson has 6 points in 2 games played. How crazy is that? Adam Fantilli, he's leading the league in goals. Patrick Gillies has 6 points in 5 games of Florida. Kirill Kaprizov, Keller, Boqvist. That's so funny. Both Boqvists are on here with 5 points each, and they both play for Florida. That's great. Matthew Coronado, Joel Farabee, a bunch of other guys over here. Connor McDavid only has 5 points. What a bum. That guy's not going to win the Art Ross this year. Samuel Honzek is. Before we dive into Honzek, though, I wanted to go over to Matvei Michkov and discuss his profile so far. 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists in 4 games played, including some pretty significant overtime goals and some big assists as well. Michkov has just been so dominant for Philadelphia this preseason that I don't think there's anybody really going out there and denying his right at being the frontrunner for the Calder Trophy this year. If Michkov legitimately has a 70-point season, I don't think that's all too crazy. He had 20 points in 27 games in 22-23 with HK Sochi. He had 41 points in 47 games with the same team last year, all as an 18-19-year-old player. This guy has been awesome. So productive, so capable, such a good point producer, and he reads the game incredibly well. It adds on to his puck skills. He has so much dynamism in the way he sees the game that the fact that he's leading the Philadelphia Flyers and the NHL in points in this preseason, that's not all too surprising. If there was anybody that was going to go out there and make a big name for himself in these opening games, it was going to be Matvei Michkov. But of course, he is not the only guy with 7 points. In fact, Samuel Honzek of the Calgary Flames has gotten such a hot run too. 2 goals, 5 assists, and 5 games played for the Calgary Flames' 16th overall pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. The thing with Honzek is, I've seen a lot of him because, of course, he's a Vancouver Giant of the past, so me being in Vancouver, lots of Vancouver Giants clips always circulating online and a lot of games available on certain television programs. Honzek has been an absolute boss. 19 years old, 6'3", 181, left-handed guy, and last season he had 31 points in 33 games with those Vancouver Giants. He was the captain of the team, and he was one of the most important guys on the team. Unfortunately, declining in point production, but that's because the Vancouver Giants did lose out on some guys. However, Honzek in this Calgary Flames preseason has been so good, and I think it's been capped off by that highlight reel shorthanded goal he had scored against the Seattle Kraken the other night. In fact, this thread goes out there and shows the goal. This was on the Calgary Flames subreddit. Look at this. He gets the puck On the rush, shorthanded, he gets around the guy and then dekes it over to the far forehand, scoring in the process. What a beautiful marker there for Sam Honzek. Take a look at some of the discourse that Flames fans are having about this dude. Craig Conroy cooked, I fear. Man, if Samuel Honzek leapfrogs all of Treliving's prospects and cracks the lineup this year, it's over for me. Craig is just better than Brad. Then look at some of the other comments here. I was going to look up which AHLer he did that to, but no, it was Vince Dunn. He isn't the greatest defender and probably didn't expect that from the rookie, but it was still a nice goal. Couldn't really decide to play the puck or the pass to Sharangovich. Honzek had incredible range and reach on that goal. He has to make the team, Florida Panthers fans said. No, he'd have to be on the fourth line. Let him dominate the AHL and fully get his groove back. Maybe now he actually gets a chance to learn center. I don't disagree that sending Honzek down and keeping Pelche up makes a lot of sense, but I could also see the Flames sending Pelche down, even if it risks losing him. Absolutely, and Klapka or Coronado will take his place. Either way, Honzek, Klapka, or Coronado all made much better cases to earn a spot. Whether they put Honzek on a fourth-line role or send him down for more experience, it's good to see he's developing well. So, Honzek, absolute gamer, what a great player. He's been so good in this preseason, and you know what? I wanted to keep the conversation going with the Ottawa Senators, because if you go over to defenseman points, yes, Adam Boqvist is one of the top guys, as we had seen in the earlier graph, but also one of the top players in defenseman points in this preseason. He's tied for first. It is Carter Yakemchuk of the Ottawa Senators. I wanted to go out there and talk about Yak in this video because of that bomb of a goal he had scored against the Montreal Canadiens yesterday. He is an offensive defenseman to a T, and he's got such a big booming shot. Now I'm starting to see why there were comparisons made between Yakemchuk and Evan Bouchard. I mean, I can totally see it now. The guy is 19 years old, 6'3", 203, right-handed defenseman. He was one of the oldest players in the 2024 NHL Draft, but either way, he still was drafted 7th overall by the Sens after posting up 71 points and 30 goals in 66 games with the Calgary Hitmen. Let's go out there and read what some Sens fans are talking about in regards to Carter Yakemchuk. This question goes out there and asks, what do you think about him so far? Seems like he's hungry to make the team out of preseason. So impressed. He's going to make the team, I just know it. He is the best slap shot we've had on the blue line in a very long time. That, and he has some silky mitts. I think he's going to end up being a staple for the team. Great pickup. Offensively, he is astounding. His decision-making needs some work in some situations, but that comes with time. Overall, 9 out of 10. And yeah, it does need some work in some situations. Might I remind you that Jake Evans' goal scored yesterday by Montreal against Ottawa was directly a result of Carter Yakemchuk playing the puck up his own boards and getting it intercepted by the Canadiens. He is strictly better than Tyler Klevin in all categories, so he deserves his shot to start the year. He is making it extremely hard for the Sens to send him back down to the WHL. They will give him his 8 games of regular season play and decide, especially if Shabbat is injured. He's making it difficult for the team to send him back. I mean, he's playing very, very well. Take a look at this other comment right here. Don't look now, but Carter Yakemchuk's 5 points is tied for the most in the preseason by a D-man. Only Honzek, Patrick Gillies, and Matvei Michkov have more points, and the only D-men with as many points are Adam Boqvist, Neil Pionk, and Darren Radish. I'd love to see him become a top 4D, like right now. Not to rain on Yakemchuk's parade, but the top of the list scores does underline that the preseason is not the real season. Yakemchuk has been amazing, and he has shown promise well beyond what most amateur scouts had forecast, but he is probably still best served a year development in junior than by playing limited minutes as our 6th or 7th D. He had scored 30 in the WHL last year, though. He might have done all the developing he can do there, and he can't play in the AHL this year. It's not an easy decision, but his situation is different than most in that sending him down might do less for him than getting a year of NHL experience, even if it's limited. Ah, the old Shane Wright conversation. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these 3 guys and how well they've been performing in the preseason so far. Samuel Honzek of the Calgary Flames, Matvei Michkov of the Philadelphia Flyers, and Carter Yakemchuk in Ottawa. If you're a fan of either the Sens, the Flyers, or the Flames, what are your thoughts on these dudes, and how well do you think they're going to project in the next season? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.